Hey guys, well, hope everyone is doing well on this beautiful morning. We're going to be doing a different type of review today, one during the day and doing a video on the weekend. So, I think I'm going to try to do this going forward for you guys. I can't promise every weekend, but I did say I was going to try to do videos more often now. So, with that being said, this one, I'm sure a lot of you have been waiting for a few days. It's long overdue. But, two things before I start this. One, tonight I am seeing Late Night with the Devil, that new horror movie that came out that looks really, really interesting. I will have that review out tomorrow for you guys. And then, yeah, let's get into it. I a little bit of backstory on me before we start this. Ghostbusters has always been, honestly, I've always been like a super fan or whatever, but I've always had a good idea of Ghostbusters and everything around it. And some of the originals are some of my favorites. It's just the right balance of, comedy and supernatural elements, and that's what makes a Ghostbuster movie perfect, And so when they saw, and then after that, they did the 2016 one. That one has a lot of controversy behind it. I'm not even going to speak on that one. I'm not going to give you my thoughts on that one, so we're just going to move on. And then we have Afterlife, which I thought came out last year. It was actually 2021, which is crazy how fast time has flown. But, yeah. So, Ghostbusters Afterlife, I enjoyed more than I thought I would. I was pleasantly surprised by it because I felt like that it was kind of a retelling of 1 and 2, but not overly doing it. It had some nostalgia in there, but it was the right balance of nostalgia and setting up a new. No, scratch that. Afterlife, I felt like was more reliant on nostalgia and more reliant on calling back to the older films. And then, so like, I don't want to say I hated it, but like, I like that. I like those elements. I just like the story in general. I was pleasantly surprised by it. So now you get into this year's Ghostbusters movie. Now, I will admit, I was a little worried because it's hard for movies to top the previous movies, right? And especially the one from 2021, which I enjoyed a pretty good amount. So I was already worried that this was not going to live up to the hype, anything like that. And so I'm proud to say that, again, I was pleasantly surprised. I'm not going to say it was great. I'm going to say it was groundbreaking. I'm going to say it's good but not great. It's good but not great. So, pleasantly surprised, again, is how I'll put it. There are things in here that I enjoy a lot, and there are quite a few things in here that I do not enjoy. And so, we're going to get into it with this review. So, right off the bat, we do this like every other critic out here, but I switch it up a little bit. We go good, bad, and then, we go good, and then we go bad, and then we go downright ugly, and then I tell you if you should go see it, if you should wait for it, all that. You guys know how I do this by now. So, starting off with the good, the stuff I liked, the stuff I enjoyed with this film. Number one, the cast is perfect in here. Finn Wolfhard, Paul Rudd, McKenna Grace, is all like the new cast. Mixed with a couple nostalgic people. You have Patton Oswalt, Bill Murray is in this for a little bit. Some of the other original actors from the first 2 Ghostbuster films are in this. And so I think it was a right balance of having like the newish actors, the new blood mixed with the old blood in there. I think there was a perfect balance. Second thing I like, there are a lot of people in here that are funny. There's comedy in this, and I'm glad this is comedic because it's always been a balance of supernatural and comedy for me when it comes to Ghostbusters. So you have Kamal, Johnny, I might be pronouncing his name wrong. You have Paul Rudd, You have a couple of other actors in here that make you laugh. So those two things I liked. And the last thing I liked about this is the fact that it went for stuff that was new to the franchise. Whether it's the villain, whether it's the ghost, whether it's the plot, I like the story, whether it's the gadgets, it went for new stuff. It didn't rely so much on, old ghost, old stories, old character arcs, all that, So I enjoyed that. Those three things I enjoyed. Now, here's the stuff I'm a little divisive on before we get into the bad. The stuff I'm a little divisive on is one of two things. One, there are multiple different plot points in here that I feel like were not needed for the story. And I hate to say that because the actors in this character arc did a great job with it, but I feel like it was not needed. I'll elaborate more on that when we get to the bad. And then the second point is I felt like while there was an okay balance of nostalgia, I felt like at certain points through the film, it was blatantly obvious to point out that it was just nostalgia bait that they were doing, which, I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that you have to bait your audience with nostalgia like that, Like, in certain aspects of the film, it was good. It was fine. But then there's other aspects where it's just baiting your audience with all the nostalgia. So, don't really like that. I'm not really okay with that. So, anyway, now we get into the bad. Now, I don't do spoiler reviews anymore because if I'm going to be truly 100% honest with you guys on my thoughts, I have to talk about a film. So, because it gives you guys a better understanding of if you want to go see it or not, right? So, here's the thing, okay? There is an arc in here with McKenna Grace's character where she's like the youngest out of the new Ghostbusters team. And she can't really ghost bust because she's too young. Like the mayor says that, and they say that. Which, because she causes a lot of damage and to the city, and so they eventually decide that when she's older, she can be a Ghostbuster, but for now, she has to just kind of stay at home, sit on the sidelines, if you will. So she feels kind of alone and befriends this. It kind of almost felt like to me they were pulling certain aspects from the movie Casper the Ghost. Kind of friends like this friendly ghost that like she bonds with a little bit, and throughout the film they tell that plot point, and eventually it leads to kind of forwarding and pushing through the main plot of the film involving the evil spirit Garaka, or I also will say the evil spirit I liked. I like he has the power to freeze people to death. I think that's very unique, very cool. But this plot point that I felt like it led and it helped get to the end of the film. And I understand that, but at the same aspect, I don't feel like they needed it. And then the other plot point in here is a whole plot point with Kamal's character that I felt like was not necessarily needed for this film. And the reason is because it kind of takes away from some of the other story points that I wanted them to hammer down more on, that I wanted them to explain more. And so I feel like if you take those two things out, you take those aspects out, and you kind of cut them out, and you focus on the story points that they should have focused on, I feel like this would have been maybe not a great movie, but maybe an awesome movie as opposed to a good movie. I felt like it would have been a little, maybe a step higher, maybe a level higher above than where I have it right now. But they didn't do that. There was just a lot of fluff points in here, a lot of fat, like a lot of side plots that I feel like did not need to be in here, per se. But anyway, the film is good. Like I said, it's not bad, it's not great, it's good. And it's something that I felt like if they would have focused more on their main plots and cut some of the side plots out, it would have been better. But overall, I think it's a good film. So if you're a Ghostbusters fan, if you like the last one, if you just not a Ghostbusters fan at all and you like some of the cast in this, I think it's worth a watch. And especially if you're a hardcore Ghostbusters fan, because of all the nostalgia they pull out. In certain aspects, it works, and others, it really does not work, and it sticks out so bad. But, yeah. Anyway, that was my Ghostbusters Frozen Empire review. And now, at the end of the video, you know how this guys go. You know how this goes. I give you guys my grade, and I tell you if you can wait to go see it in theaters or go watch it on streaming. So, Ghostbusters, I'm going to give it a B-. I think that's fair. I think it's fair. I don't think it's too high. I don't think it's too low. And then I'm going to let you guys know, if you're a hardcore Ghostbusters fan, go see this in theaters. And if you liked last year, or 2021's Ghostbusters Afterlife, go see it in theaters. If you didn't like Ghostbusters Afterlife, and if you're not a hardcore Ghostbusters fan, or a fan of Ghostbusters at all, you could probably wait till it hits streaming. But anyway, until the next review, peace, love, positivity. See you guys for Late Night with the Devil.